Ladies and gentlemen, first up, breaking news that's coming in from Chhattisgarh, where a major Naxalite attack has rocked the Bijapur district. In a tragic incident, 8 soldiers and a driver, they have been martyred in an improvised explosive device blast that targeted their vehicle on the Kutru road. Now, just to be specific, 8 Dantewada DRG Jawans and a driver, they lost their lives after their vehicle was blown up by the Naxals through this IED blast. They were returning after a joint operation of Dantewada, Narayanpur and Bijapur. This has been corroborated by the IG Bastar Plus. And of course, 8 more soldiers have been seriously injured in the attack, and the number of martyrs, well, at this point in time, and we must tread carefully, only corroborated information out there, the number may rise up as the situation develops. Let's hope that it does not. The soldiers were reportedly returning from an operation, a joint one, when their vehicle was blown up by the Naxalites. And this incident marks another grave reminder of our challenges, the challenges our security forces face in combating the Naxalite violence. We've got former Chief Minister of Chhattisgarh. Let's listen in. But before that, some of those visuals on your screens, as well as my colleague Aditya Rajkal joins us on the broadcast with the latest on this particular story. Aditya, over to you. Seems to be like a big blast. We've of course had to maintain some on-air hygiene as well. Not all of those pictures can be put up, on air, but significant and pertinent details about this attack. Over to you.
That's right, Kabir. Very unfortunate news coming in from Chhattisgarh, where yet another Maoist attack has taken place, and you rightly pointed out that 8 Jawans of the DRG, which is the District Reserve Guards of the Chhattisgarh Police, very efficient force which has been targeting the Maoists for a while now, have been targeted. This was a convoy that was returning from a joint security operation in the border areas of Dantewada, Bijapur and Narayanpur. As of now, we have a confirmation from the IG Bastar that 8 Jawans of the DRG, the District Reserve Guard, have been killed in action, along with 1 driver as well. Such was the brutality of the IED explosion that the vehicle was completely, destroyed. In fact, parts of the vehicle and bodies were in fact lying on the nearby trees. We are of course not putting out those visuals, very gory visuals coming in from Bijapur in Chhattisgarh, where this attack actually took place. It's very common for the Maoists to in fact plant these IEDs, the improvised explosive devices, especially near village areas and bridges that are newly constructed. It's easy to hide those IEDs under mud, under earth, not easy to detect in a large area, and that's where this attack has taken place. This is the first major Maoist terror attack against the forces that has taken place in Chhattisgarh. In fact, security forces and Government of India has had significant success against the Maoists in the last 15 years, particularly in 2024, where I can tell you that 287 Maoists alone in Chhattisgarh were eliminated, including 14 top-ranking Maoists as well. So there has been significant success against the Maoists in Chhattisgarh, and that's why it seems that there's a frustration building on in the Maoist, top brass, because there's a deadline of March 2026 that has been set by Home Minister Amit Shah to the Chhattisgarh police and the Chhattisgarh government to eliminate Maoists completely from Chhattisgarh. You also remember that there were major operations carried out both in Maharashtra as well as in Chhattisgarh in the last 1 year, in which, in one, more than 40 Maoists were killed in Gachrauli in Maharashtra, and in one such operation in Chhattisgarh's Abu Jumat, which was on, a few years ago known as a liberated zone, there were 30 Maoists nearly that were killed as well. So there have been significant successes for the DRG, for the CRPF and the anti-Maoist forces in Chhattisgarh in the recent past, and that's why unfortunately this incident taking place early on in the first week of 2025 itself, Maoist perhaps trying to revive itself, sending out a message to the forces and the Government of India, but certainly the anti-Naxal operations are certainly not going to end anytime soon.
Aditya, it's again going to be interesting to note here that this attack happened after the forces were returning from a joint operation. Could you throw some light on what this joint operation exactly was? You've, rightly pointed out about the immense success that the government has had in Chhattisgarh as well. For the last 2 years, it's been quite successful clamping down on this Naxal violence. But this is a big attack. Of course, the entire radius of the blast that you've thrown light upon, but this happening right after this joint exercise, what does that tell us?
What usually happens in Chhattisgarh or any such area where there is insurgency or Maoism or any other kind of, terrorism, there are regular security operations that are carried out by the security forces. In this case particularly, I understand that this could have been a CASO, which is a cordon and search operation that usually is carried out by the paramilitary forces along with the district forces. It's not clear whether this was a joint operation with the CRPF, but certainly the DRG from Narayanpur, Dantewada and Bijapur were involved in this operation. It would have begun late into the night yesterday or early morning today, where the security forces, large in number, would have gone to a particular area where information would have been received of Maoist presence, and a cordon and security operation would have been carried out. Doesn't seem like that any kind of a encounter took place with the Maoists this time around. But while the security forces were returning after this particular exercise of an operation, a cordon and search operation, this IED attack taking place in which 8 Jawans of the DRG of the Chhattisgarh police and 1 driver have been killed. I said that this was a very, very brutal terror attack, and I'm sure that the security forces in Chhattisgarh will be launching a security operation very soon. That's what we have seen in the past as well. As I said, I visited this area frequently across Dantewada, Bastar and the heartland of the Maoists in Chhattisgarh, but there have been significant successes for the security forces in the recent past, unprecedented to the extent I can tell you that in 2023 there were only 20 Maoists that were killed in the entire year, but last year that rose to about 287. And the civilian casualties have also reduced by 73% in the last 2 years. That itself gives you a telling picture of the Maoists being reduced to the ashes in Chhattisgarh. But this attack again is a cause of concern for the security forces, for the national security apparatus as well, which is going all guns blazing against the Maoists. And that operation overall by the paramilitary forces, by the Chhattisgarh police and the DRG Jawans is certainly going to continue.
All right, Aditya Raj Kaul, Strategic Affairs Editor, bringing us those latest details. Many thanks, Aditya, for joining us here. Of course, the detailed information is going to be released separately by the IGP Bastar range. We're going to wait for that. But some political reactions that are now coming in, let's quickly cut across to those.
बीजापुर से ये एक नक्सलियों की कायराना हरकत की जानकारी आई है। सभी नौजवानों के प्रति मैं अपनी विनम्र श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित करता हूं। ये नक्सलियों की कायराना हरकत है। जिस प्रकार से सुरक्षा बल के जवान अंदर घुसकर नक्सल मुक्त करने की दिशा में काम कर रहे हैं, ये हताशा में, निराशा में की गई कार्रवाई है। इन जवानों की शहादत जाया नहीं जाएगी और बहुत जल्दी छत्तीसगढ़, बस्तर नक्सल मुक्त होगा।
Well, moving on, recent developments regarding Nimisha Priya, the Indian nurse sentenced to death in Yemen, indicates that the Yemeni embassy has clarified that President Rashid al-Alimi has not approved the nurse's death sentence. And this statement comes amidst ongoing negotiations for a potential pardon through blood money, which is a customary practice in Islamic law, allowing the victim's family to forgive the perpetrator in exchange for financial compensation. Now, Nimisha Priya, who has been imprisoned since 2017 for the alleged murder of a Yemeni national, Talal Abdul Mahdi, was originally sentenced to death in 2020. Her family is actively seeking a pardon from Mahdi's relatives, which remains her only hope to avoid execution. The Indian government is reportedly providing all possible assistance in this matter, and it's a big development that the president has not yet approved her death sentence. As of now, the situation remains precarious, with Nimisha's family and supporters urging for urgent intervention to secure her release. They are hopeful that negotiations can lead to a favorable outcome before any execution in this particular case takes place. She was sentenced to death in 2020. Right now, blood money, crucial talks underway in Yemen. Meanwhile, the president says he's not approved the death sentence yet. Moving on, the Indian Council of Medical Research, ICMR, has detected 2 cases of human metapneumovirus in Karnataka. Now, both the cases were identified through routine surveillance for multiple respiratory viral pathogens as part of ICMR's ongoing efforts to monitor respiratory illnesses across the country. HMPV virus, should you be worried? Is it the same as COVID-19 or the SARS virus that broke apart in China? Of course, the HMPV also coming to light from China itself. However, there is no clear information information whether the Chinese type of HMPV virus and the virus found in the child in Karnataka are the same, according to the Karnataka Health Department. And as per reports, child and parents have no Chinese travel history or any kind of travel history towards China. The first case is a 3-month-old female infant who was diagnosed with HMPV after being admitted to Baptist Hospital in Bengaluru with a history of bronchopneumonia. She has been since discharged. The second case is an 8-month-old male infant who tested positive for HMPV on the 3rd of January after being admitted yet again to Baptist Hospital, Bengaluru with a history of bronchopneumonia. This particular infant is now recovering. It is important to note here again that neither of the affected patients have any history of international travel at this particular point in time. Now, the health minister of the state, Dinesh Gundu Rao, has called an emergency meeting with health department officials to discuss the precautionary measures that are set to be taken up. This list of SOPs that are going to be created. Health department had earlier made it clear that the HMPV virus is already present in India, but what is unclear is that the HMPV virus that is currently causing concern in China, is it the same virus that's present in India or not? Now, the rapid spread of HMPV virus and its cases in China and beyond have resulted in a pandemic scare across the world, including India. The virus is being compared to COVID-19, which also began in China 5 years ago. The symptoms of HMPV include cough, fever, nasal congestion, and wheezing, and severe cases can result in bronchitis and pneumonia. Currently, no vaccine or effective medication against the HMPV exists, and here's a lot at how the virus spreads. Now, an enveloped single-stranded negative sense RNA virus was first discovered in 2001. It spreads through close contact with individuals via respiratory secretions or by touching contaminated surfaces. Children, the elderly, and those with a compromised immune system are particularly vulnerable. And amidst the pandemic scare, a list of potential health challenges related to the HMPV and other respiratory viruses. Delhi Health Minister Saurabh Bhardwaj, he said that all hospitals should be completely prepared to handle any potential increase in respiratory illness. You've got Kerala Health Minister Veena George has said that they are carefully assessing reports of global viral fever and respiratory infections. Whilst there is no need for panic, the minister recommended that pregnant women, the elderly, and those with serious illnesses or bad immune systems must wear a mask as a precaution.
1% of the illnesses normally are due to this HMPV virus. So it's a very normal thing, and it is not there's no fatalities in this, and people get it, and they are affected for a few days, and it passes on. So that is what is this HMPV that has been detected even in Bangalore Baptist Hospital. It's the same thing. So there's nothing new, nothing to panic, nothing to worry. That is the first point. Second point is that whatever in the future, what they're talking about in China and all those things are right now not connected to what is there over here. Government of India is monitoring it, and if any such further information is there, then we will come to know, then we will decide what to do. Right now, there's no surge of cases. Even Government of India is saying no surge of cases of ILI across the country, no sudden spurt of cases or pockets where suddenly this is increasing, or no serious situation has emerged anywhere in the country. So I think people should not panic, just be normal. We are also looking at it, monitoring it, but right now there's nothing to worry.
Sir, any guidelines you are going to issue?
Guidelines are regular guidelines which are good for normal course, because now winter is there, so illnesses can increase, especially cold, cough, and these viral infections can increase. So better to be careful, avoid crowded places, keep your hands clean, and eat hygienic food, drink water, all those things are regular. So no special guidelines concerning specifically for this HMP.
2 मास का बच्चा जो डूंगरपुर राजस्थान से आया था सारवार के लिए, उसमें ये डिटेक्ट हुआ है और उसको सारवार के अर्थे अहमदाबाद भेजा गया है. कोविड के टाइम पे भी जो डूज एंड डोंट्स जो दिए गए थे, उस हिसाब से ये संक्रमण जो फैलता है तो वो ऐसे छींकने से या हवा से, फिर बहुत सारे हाथ धोना है, किसी के संपर्क में जिसको भी हुआ है तो उससे नहीं आना है, वगैरह वगैरह जो भी है वो हमें उसका पालन करना है. एसओपीज और जो गाइडलाइन है क्या क्या करना है क्या क्या नहीं करना है, वो राज्य सरकार की ओर से ये एसओपी भी जारी होगी, शायद आज ही हो जाएगी.
And he took up a meeting with the department, and whatever decision he takes, the government will implement it, and the government will take all precautionary measures to implement and to prevent the disease.
But take a look at this. Just like COVID-19, China led World Health Organization's deafening silence on the spread of human metapneumovirus or HMPV, a respiratory illness with flu-like symptoms, is worrisome. Like in the case of COVID-19, WHO has yet to issue a statement on the outbreak of the virus in China, and no state of emergency has been declared by the global health body or Beijing. The spread of the disease in China has raised health concerns globally, with countries closely monitoring the situation. You've got photos and videos of people wearing masks in hospitals in China that have emerged online, triggering panic. China has, however, downplayed the rise of infections, stating that respiratory infections tend to peak during the winter season. The outbreak comes 5 years, mind you, after the outbreak of the deadly COVID-19 pandemic, and how it was. Another pertinent question is that, is the HMPV virus similar to that of COVID-19? Now, whilst both can cause respiratory duress, the HMPV and SARS-CoV-2 belong to different viral families. The similarity that they may share is only in terms of their virulence, fatality, and occurrence. Both the viruses are known to target the respiratory system. Both HMPV and COVID cause mild to severe infections depending on a person's immune response. Now, both these viruses spread via respiratory droplets and contact with contaminated surfaces. Fever, cough, sore throat, wheezing, a shortness of breath, these are common symptoms for both HMPV and SARS-CoV COVID-19. The only big difference between the two can be seen in treatments available for the cure of these two different viral diseases. While there is a vaccine available for the prevention of a severe outcome of COVID-19, there is none at present for the HMPV. Well, time for us to slip into a quick commercial breather here. Top developments continue on the other side. Keep it with Newsman. Welcome back. You're watching News 9. The mystery of the Indus Valley civilization script, it continues to captivate scholars even a century after its discovery. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister MK Stalin has now announced a $1 million reward for anyone who can decipher the ancient script to the satisfaction of the experts. Speaking at the inauguration of a 3-day international conference that was carried out in Egmore in Chennai, marking the centenary of the Indus Valley civilization, Stalin emphasized the cultural and historical ties between Tamil Nadu and the ancient civilization. that Tamil Nadu and the Tamil language are integral to the history of the Indian subcontinent. The Chief Minister highlighted similarities between Tamil culture and the Indus Valley, pointing to bull taming traditions, burial practices, and pottery styles as key links. He also released a study on Indus signs and graffiti marks found in Tamil Nadu, underscoring the state's archaeological efforts. And MK Stalin noted that the discovery of Harappa and Mohenjo-daro by Sir John Marshall in 1924 was a turning point in India's understanding of its ancient past. Meanwhile, maintaining our focus on the state of Tamil Nadu for the second consecutive year, Tamil Nadu Governor R.N. Ravi, he left the Tamil Nadu Assembly without reading his customary address. Now, within minutes of walking out, the governor's office issued a statement accusing the Tamil Nadu government of disrespecting the constitution by not singing the national anthem at the beginning of the session. The constitution of Bharat and the national anthem were once again insulted in the Tamil Nadu Assembly today. Respecting the national anthem is amongst the first fundamental duty as enshrined in our constitution. It is sung in all the state legislatures at the beginning and the end of governor's address. But today, on the arrival of governor to the house, only Tamil Thai Vastu was sung. Governor respectfully reminded the house of its constitutional duty and fervently appealed to Honorable Chief Minister, who is the leader of the house, and the Honorable Speaker for singing the national anthem. However, they caustically refused. It's a matter of grave concern not to be a party to such brazen disrespect to the Constitution and the national anthem. Governor, in deep anguish, left the House. That's the particular statement. Now, BJP also staged a walkout from the House after Speaker M. Appavu began reading the governor's address. And BJP ally Padali Makkal Kachi also walked out of the House right after that. And MK Stalin, his particular statement on your screens as well. What we're also picking up is that BJP leader in the state, K. Annamalai, he's come out strongly criticizing the move of the DMK-led government in the state of Tamil Nadu. For a second year in a row, R.N. Ravi walking out before his address as well, only because the national anthem wasn't played right in the beginning of the session. And take a look at this. Up next, we're going to shift our focus here because a powerful winter storm is wreaking havoc across the central United States, bringing snow, ice, and, of course, plunging the mercury and temperatures down below the 0 degree Celsius mark. The storm is expected to deliver some of the heaviest snowfall in a decade, with at least 8 inches forecast in parts of Kansas, western Nebraska, and Indiana. The National Weather Service has issued winter storm warnings for Kansas and Missouri, with blizzard conditions reported, and the warnings have extended to New Jersey as well. In Cincinnati, in Ohio, snowfall is expected to accumulate between 7 to 10 inches before tapering off. The storm has impacted over 60 million people, blanketing major roadways in snow and ice. The National Guard has been activated in several states to assist the stranded motors. As the storm moves offshore, Arctic air will follow, causing temperatures to plummet 10 to 20 degrees below average from the Great Plains to the East Coast. Meanwhile, in Utah, a heavy snowfall caused an avalanche near Little Cottonwood Canyon, stranding skiers for a brief moment over there. The storm continues to affect millions, with blizzards, freezing rain, and icy conditions expected in the coming days as well. And that's all the time we have for you in this edition of Top News. Top developments continue on the other side. Keep it with News 9.